love rock and roll. Hate chick flicks. I am a blubbering fool today. Oh, wow. This has been awesome. The light's not so bright that I can't see you, so I just need to take a moment to see. I would love to climb inside each one of you and feel with my hands how he touched you. Because I don't know most of you. Maybe I do know most of you. But I know he touched each and every one of you in a very, very different and unique way. And it would take volumes and volumes for that to be written and put down somewhere. You saw Dan and Ted and Susie up here and with their beautiful heads of hair. What happened? I envy you. I have hair envy. I wrote a letter that I'd like to share. Whose handkerchief was this, by the way? You're not going to want it back. Dear Dad, we've heard from several of your closest friends today, and they've shared genuinely about what you mean to them and how you've touched them deeply. You've touched so many people so deeply. These have been powerful testimonies, as you have left an indelible mark on them and thousands of others, including us, your sons. Vince Lombardi once said, "I firmly believe that any man's finest hour is that moment when he has worked his heart out in a good cause and lay exhausted on the field of battle, victorious." Saturday night, July 11th, 2009, you lay exhausted on the field of battle. That night, we believe your breathing was labored and strained because in your life, you spoke more words of kindness and compassion than 100 ordinary men in 100 lifetimes. Through the years, you cheered your sons on with vigor and acclaim. Lifting us up in words of praise and encouragement. As a runner having run his finest race, you were breathless and bent over with exhaustion, but still with that amazing smile and that glimmer in your eye. That Saturday night, July 11th, you lay exhausted on the field of battle, but you were most victorious. That Saturday night, we believe your heart beat irregular and unbalanced because in your lifetime, you loved on and cared for more people in need of love and care than 1,000 ordinary men do in 1,000 lifetimes. You gave of yourself and your caring heart to children with no hope, who knew no love and no compassion. Your heart gave unreserved and without hesitation to those who needed unconditional love and affection. That Saturday night, July 11th, you lay exhausted on the field of battle because your heart had given everything it could, and you lay there victorious. That Saturday night, July 11th, you lay exhausted on the field of battle with hands that were bent, twisted, and disfigured. We believe these hands were bent and disfigured because they had written more words and expressions of love than 10,000 ordinary men in 10,000 lifetimes. These hands wrote the syllabus for thousands of kids who were inspired by you to think outside the box and to think for themselves. These hands built model train sets and lay brick with your sons. These hands wrote countless poems to our mom, your friend, and your wife. These hands turned the doorknob of your front door every week for 10 years, opening the way for young high school students to learn more about Jesus Christ, how to be a leader, and how to believe in themselves. I held your hand on Friday night, the 10th of July, and you squeezed mine. Your hand was disfigured and bent, and your grip was weak by the standards of 10,000 other men. but to me it was the strongest grip I had ever felt. Sunday morning, July 12th, 2009, you claimed your victory. You stood beside your Christ with legs that are strong and straight, with lungs filled to capacity with the breath of everlasting life, with a back that is pain-free and upright, with a heart as healthy and sturdy as an ox, and with hands that remained bent, twisted and curved, as we're sure they were clasped together as you prayed for us that morning. Dad, these last words written by George Bernard Shaw might as well have been written by you. I am of the opinion that my life belongs to the whole community, and as long as I live, it is my privilege to do for it whatever I can. I want to be thoroughly used up when I die, for the harder I work, the more I live. I rejoice in life for its own sake. Life is no brief candle for me. It is a splendid torch which I've got a hold of for the moment, and I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before handing it on to future generations. Dad, we want the world to know that you burned bright. You taught everything God wanted you to teach. You loved everyone he wanted you to love. And we believe you burned brighter than 1,000,000 ordinary men in 1,000,000 lifetimes. Your finest hour was that moment, Saturday night, July 11th, 2009, when you had worked your heart out for a good cause, and you lay exhausted on the field of battle, victorious. You had completed your mission here on this field of battle, and it was time for you to go home. Rock and roll. We know that as you look down upon us today, that if you could, you would reach down with your torch and you would hand it to each one of us here who are bold enough to take it and run with it. We can only hope and pray that we will be bold enough to take your torch and run with it, and that we will be inspired to speak words of encouragement, to share our hearts without reservation, and to give of our hands to those in need. Thank you, Dad, for lighting the way. Your sons.
I think I inherited